You stand at dawn's threshold. The sky before you isn't just the morning, it's a canvas of possibility painted with the gold of dreams yet seized. You breathe in a calm that's charged with promise, every heartbeat resonating with potential. This isn't fluff. This is wrought a call to awaken the dormant force within, the audacity that whispers, "You are meant for greatness beyond what you've dared to imagine." Let the echo of Edison's relentless search for light, 10,000 attempts to make the filament glow, resonate within you. Each failure, a note in the symphony of success yet to rise. Here you meet your mirror, equally capable of birthing brilliance, if only you will endure. You are not just chasing wealth. You are resurrecting a legacy of vision. Molded by fire, shaped by belief. Feel how belief sets your spine straight, awakening a kind of clarity that pierces through chaos. Belief is not idle hope. It is that quiet roar when the world says no, and your spirit answers, "Watch me." Andrew Carnegie didn't wait for fortune to visit. He summoned it through unshakable confidence in his capacity to create, to lead. Let his story ripple through your consciousness. Wealth is not given, it's forged by the mind that believes it can. This belief breeds clarity, the clarity that defines your path in the fog of uncertainty. You sense it your greatest desires, shimmering just beyond doubt. Clarity is the lens that sharpens the faintest image of your future into the vivid. It is the difference between wandering and charging with purpose. When you see it, the design of your destiny, you stop asking if and only ask when. And vision becomes purpose, an unrelenting purpose that aligns every fiber of your being. You see, Henry Ford didn't simply build cars. He built the revolution of mobility, the promise of freedom on wheels, the unfolding of American dreams. Your purpose can be that sweeping. It can shift entire landscapes. You are not chasing money, you are drawing forth your purpose and wealth. It is simply the byproduct of a purpose lived at unrivaled intensity. Let discipline pour through your veins, a river of resolve that carves canyons through distraction. You rise before the dawn, harnessing the quiet hours, because wealth doesn't arrive in the company of complacency. Walt Disney sketched his first characters in the face of doubt, budgets tight, and critics loud. Yet he disciplined his days to creation, to consistent forward motion. Discipline means tending to your vision when temptation whispers otherwise, when comfort beckons, a quiet, mundane seduction. But you are beyond seduction by ease. You are seduced by the worthy challenge. So action becomes your anthem, a tempo of movement that vibrates with intent, every step forward echoing in eternity. Action is not always grand. Sometimes it is the brief, steady discipline of dialing one call, writing one page, making one connection. Yet each tiny act compounds, building momentum. Resilience teaches that even when your engine sputters, you don't resign, you repair, you recharge, you roar back. Abraham Lincoln, crossing the plains of rejection and loss, rising myriad times to steer a nation. His vision was welded to action and tested by loss. Your own loss or fear will not be the end. It will be the catalyst. Gratitude then blooms, not as soft sentiment, but as fierce recognition. Every step forward, every lesson, every alley, every failure is material in the sculpture of your success. Gratitude sharpens your vision by reminding you of the gifts you already carry. It doesn't dilute ambition. It fuels it. It keeps your spirit grounded within abundance rather than lack. It reminds you are already rich in possibility. Adaptability rises next, the art of dance when the ground shifts. When markets quake, when trends shift, when innovation reroutes entire industries, you bend, you pivot, you recalibrate. Like Thomas Edison, who didn't mourn a broken experiment. He saw a lesson encrypted in failure. Each pivot is not defeat, it is insight in motion. You too will twist and evolve, not because you're lost, but because you're alive. Here resilience re-emerges stronger, tested, tempered, unbreakable. The storms that would have drowned others become your proving grounds. The pressure you endure becomes the source of your metamorphosis. Diamonds form under the fiercest compression. So too do the greatest successes form in the furnace of adversity. You don't just endure pain, you transmute it. Then you become a ceaseless learner, a pilgrim through knowledge, curious, unyielding. You devour books, mentors, experiences. You mine the annals of history for the thread of greatness. From Carnegie's steel to Ford's assembly, from Lincoln's leadership to Disney's dream. Every story is a lesson, every lesson a spark for your own creation. You gather wisdom like jewels, precious and potent. And through this, wealth is not a distant dream. It is the natural unfolding of your intentional, disciplined, belief-fueled life. You don't follow a prescribed script. You write your own, chapter by chapter, breath by breath, heartbeat by heartbeat, through enduring focus. Now, in the gravity of this moment, you feel the alignment of mind, belief, purpose, discipline, action, resilience, adaptability, gratitude, learning. You stand on the brink of your richest decade, your 30s. Let your heart thunder with it. The path is lit. The stakes are your destiny. You have summoned your inner entrepreneur, philosopher, warrior, creator. And now you step, not with hesitation, but with that rare fire most people only glimpse in others. The kind that says, I was not born to blend into the noise. I was born to break it. Understand this, getting rich in your 30s is not about catching some mythical wave of luck. It's about engineering your moment, building it with your own hands while others scroll, talk, delay, and doubt. You are no longer interested in the empty calories of hustle culture or viral quotes posted by people who have never walked through real fire. You're here to embody the principle that Napoleon Hill immortalized. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. But not just believe, act, endure, create. See, the greatest misconception about wealth is that it arrives suddenly. It doesn't. Wealth is an echo, a delayed reward for consistent alignment over years. It is the applause that shows up long after the performance is over. It's not the sprint of a launch. It's the marathon of discipline through quiet seasons. Your 30s aren't about flashy wins. They're about compounding invisible victories. Early mornings. Ruthless focus. Saying no to distractions with the same energy most people use to chase pleasure. It's about becoming dangerous. Dangerous to your limitations. Dangerous to the generational curses that tried to follow you into adulthood. Dangerous to the mediocrity that surrounded you growing up. Every time you take action with precision, you tell the world, this is who I really am. This is the life I am crafting. You see, money doesn't chase the lazy, the unclear, or the emotionally fragile. Money is attracted to courage, to leadership, to those bold enough to hold a vision in the silence when no one claps for it. In your 30s, wealth isn't about getting lucky. It's about becoming the kind of person luck has no choice but to favor. The kind of person who built so much internal strength that opportunities orbit them naturally. But clarity must come first. Clarity is the origin of power. Without it, you're just spinning, working hard but building nothing. What do you want? Not the vague fantasy of freedom or success. That's not clarity. That's fog dressed in fancy language. You need crystal sharp intentions. How much do you want to earn? What problem are you solving? Who are you becoming? What are you building that will still be alive 5 decades from now? Be ruthless with confusion. Clarity is the blade that cuts through the noise. Once you see it, really see it, you organize your entire existence around it. This is the difference between people who wander and people who build legacies. The dreamers and the doers. The talkers and the silent giants moving with precision. And here's the truth, your 30s are a furnace. They are not the decade where everything comes easy. They are the decade where everything begins for real. You will lose friends who don't understand the fire in your eyes. You will outgrow conversations that once felt entertaining. You will hunger for silence more than noise. You will sacrifice, and then sacrifice again, because you have chosen a path most never will. But you will rise. Every investment of effort, every hour poured into your vision, every dollar saved or risked wisely, every lesson learned the hard way, it all builds you. Not just your net worth, your character, your internal empire. This is where the inner game comes alive. You must now condition your mind to see beyond lack, beyond limitation. You can no longer afford the luxury of excuses. Not in your 30s, not when the world is moving faster than ever. You must become mentally invincible. You train your thoughts like a warrior trains their strikes. No passive thinking, no default modes. You don't casually consume. You curate your inputs with the precision of a surgeon. Every podcast, every book, every voice you allow near your mind, they either feed your growth or they drain it. You must guard your mindset like a vault, because that mindset is the operating system of your future fortune. Even Carnegie had mentors. Edison had partners. Hill himself studied the greats because he knew this: no one becomes wealthy in a vacuum. You must surround yourself with voices that challenge you, stretch you, sharpen you. You must kill ego and embrace mentorship. Pride has kept more people poor than failure ever will. This is not the age of proving. This is the age of building. And builders don't waste time looking over their shoulder. They pour every ounce of attention into the work, into the craft, into the legacy. Your 30s are not a playground. They are a battlefield for your financial independence. And the fight is won in inches, not miles. There will be days when nothing seems to be working. When doubt taps on your shoulder and whispers, who are you to want more? But you'll remember every empire has quiet foundations no one sees. What you build in the dark will shine in the light. The world may not notice yet, but the seeds are growing. The soil is shifting. The harvest is coming. Keep moving. Keep grinding. Keep believing. Wealth is watching you. Wealth is watching you, not like some distant deity, but like a mirror. It reflects who you've become, not what you've asked for. It answers to consistency. It bows to vision. It multiplies in the presence of character. You don't attract abundance by chasing it with desperation. You attract it by becoming the kind of person who commands it. That means shedding your former self like dead skin. The version of you that waited for motivation gone. The one who needed validation buried. The you that procrastinated out of fear, shrunk to fit in, played small so no one felt threatened, obliterated. Because the rich version of you, the magnetic discipline, dangerous version, has no room for fragility. Money is a magnifier. It doesn't change who you are. It reveals it. That's why your 30s are not just about getting rich. They're about becoming whole, about stitching your character so tightly that when success comes, it doesn't tear you apart. That's why purpose must sit in the driver's seat. Without purpose, money is a drunk driver. It swerves, it crashes. But with purpose, it becomes a missile aimed at legacy. So ask yourself, what will your wealth stand for? Because this is what most get wrong. They aim for wealth without direction. They want the treasure, but not the map. You're different. You are building the internal GPS calibrated by values, principles, and clarity so sharp it could cut through steel. This is how you build an empire that lasts, not one that just makes noise for a few years then fades into silence. That requires obsession, not toxic hustle, sacred obsession. The kind of focus that makes you lose track of time because you're so locked in on the mission. That's how Disney built magic out of ink and imagination. That's how Steve Jobs made glass and aluminum into religion. That's how Napoleon Hill, in a world ravaged by war and depression, wrote a manual for abundance that still echoes a century later. Obsession is your friend. Let others mock it. Let them call you too intense, too serious, too focused. But here's the truth, average people will always be allergic to intensity. Your focus is a mirror to their mediocrity, and it makes them flinch. So let them flinch. While they sleep, you study. While they scroll, you strategize. While they coast, you climb. Because here's what no one tells you: the gap between average and rich isn't talent. It isn't even intelligence. It's decision. One person decided to take full ownership, to stop blaming the economy, their childhood, their boss, their ex, their fears, their past. One person got tired of their own excuses. One person made a vow: it ends with me. That vow is everything. That vow is the starting point of all generational wealth. Not a cute Instagram quote, not a temporary jolt of inspiration, but a deep, violent commitment in the soul. The kind that wakes you up at 45 a.m. The kind that makes you work through holidays. The kind that makes you build when no one is watching. And as the months pass, you start to feel the shift. First, it's subtle. Your confidence grows because confidence is earned, not gifted. You trust yourself to execute. You begin to attract allies, mentors, collaborators, people who speak the same language of execution and vision. You become a magnet not by force, but by frequency. And then wealth starts showing up in strange ways, not just in money, but in time, in leverage, in freedom. People offer you opportunities you once had to beg for. You no longer need to chase. Your reputation arrives before you do. And that reputation wasn't built overnight. It was forged in the repetition, in the silence, in the sacrifice. That's what no one wants to hear. That's what the overnight success myth will never tell you. That wealth in your 30s is not about striking gold. It's about building the mind, digging deeper when most give up, staying when others flee, showing up when there's nothing glamorous, nothing sexy, nothing viral about the work. Just grit, just vision, just you and the mission. And when you master that, when you marry obsession with discipline, vision with action, purpose with adaptability, you become inevitable. Your success is no longer a maybe. It's a math equation. You are now compounding every skill, every move, every connection, every piece of knowledge, compounding like interest in a secret bank account only the relentless get access to. And let me be clear, this is not just about money. Yes, we're talking about getting rich, but not just financially. Rich in impact, rich in autonomy, rich in mind, body, spirit. You weren't put on this earth to chase paychecks and die in quiet desperation. You were born to build something that lives longer than your name. Your 30s are the forge, not the finish line. They are the time to go all in, not to impress, but to become. to stop chasing weekends, to stop escaping your life through distractions, to wake up and realize I am the architect, I am the builder, I am the bank, I am the business, I am the brand, I am the storm, and the world. It won't give you permission. You take it, not with arrogance, but with certainty, the quiet, commanding certainty of someone who has earned their identity in the crucible of commitment. No applause, no spotlight, just the rhythm of work, the repetition of excellence, the precision of a person who's no longer dabbling, but declaring. There comes a moment, and maybe it's now, when you stop negotiating with your potential, when you stop asking the world for permission to win, because greatness doesn't come to the polite, it comes to the obsessed. It comes to the one who says, I'm willing to pay the price in full, up front, with interest. This is the moment you realize you don't need more time, you need more intensity. You don't need a better economy, you need a stronger reason. Because when your reason becomes real, when it's no longer about proving them wrong or being liked, but about building a life so aligned it radiates truth, nothing can stop you. You see, wealth is not just strategy, it's energy. It flows to those who move with intention, who speak with clarity, who execute with precision. That's why you can't afford to speak like the average. You can't move like the average. You can't consume content like the average. You must rise above the noise because you're no longer playing for participation. You're playing for power. And power, real power, is internal. It's earned in the dark. When you push through a second workout while your legs tremble. When you make the hard call that moves the needle. When you study your craft until your eyes burn. When you delay gratification with surgical self-control. These are the deposits. This is the invisible work that makes you unstoppable. You are not meant to live paycheck to paycheck, begging for freedom in 2-week increments. You are not designed for a life of compromise, mediocrity, or emotional bankruptcy. You were built engineered to create, to multiply, to command reality through focused thought, unwavering action, and radical personal responsibility. Napoleon Hill said it plainly, reaches begin with a state of mind. And most people hear that and nod, but never live it. Because to truly adopt that mindset, you must murder your victimhood. You must exile your excuses. You must slaughter every part of you that still believes life owes you something. Life owes you nothing. You owe life everything. When you realize this, you become dangerous, not in a reckless way, but in a liberated way. Because now no one controls you, not your past, not your boss, not your parents, not your fears. Because now you've declared, I am the source, I am the cause, I am the effect, I am the beginning. And here's what happens next. Reality bends, slowly at first, like steel under heat. But then rapidly, momentum kicks in. Things that once took years now take months. Resources appear, partnerships click, doors swing open that once seemed locked shut, not because the world changed, but because you did. You became the type of person wealth cannot ignore. But even here in this elevation, you must stay grounded, because ego is the final enemy. It whispers sweet lies. You've arrived. You've done enough. You're better than them. And the moment you believe it, the seeds of decay are planted. You must remain a student. Even when you lead, you must learn. Even when you win, you must sharpen. Even when you rise, you must remember who you were when you started and protect that hunger with your life. Because the real rich, the ones who stay rich, stay humble in the grind. They're not seduced by applause. They're not softened by success. They are builders first, always. Students first, always. Warriors first, always. And you're now walking that path. Your 30s are not your peak. They're your launch pad. These years, properly used, can buy you decades of freedom, but wasted, they become the most expensive years of your life. So you choose now cost or investment, sacrifice or sedation, mastery or mediocrity. And the truth is, most won't choose mastery, not because they can't, but because they won't. Because mastery is lonely, mastery is inconvenient. Mastery demands discipline on days you don't feel like it. But you've chosen a higher frequency. You've chosen to matter. You've chosen to become the one who 10 years from now will look back and whisper, that's the decade I became rich, not just in money, but in mind, in meaning, in mastery. And that version of you, they're watching right now, waiting to see what you do next. So what do you do next? You rise, not in theory, not in talk, but in motion. You rise before your alarm. You rise above your excuses. You rise through the repetition of high standards and violent consistency. Because you're not here to dabble. You're here to dominate. Dominate what? Yourself. The battlefield isn't out there. It's in your discipline. It's in your attention. It's in your calendar. It's in the moment you choose to write instead of scroll, to invest instead of spend, to learn instead of judge. Domination is not ego, it's execution. The quiet, unrelenting execution of someone who refuses to be average a second longer. Your 30s are not about chasing dreams, they're about materializing them. This is the decade where you pour the concrete foundation of your empire. If you waste these years, you will pay for it in your 40s. If you master them, your 40s become a celebration. So stop waiting for the perfect idea, the perfect mood, the perfect time. None of that is coming. You are the perfection you've been waiting for when you choose to move, despite uncertainty. Let others obsess over shortcuts. Let them post quotes while you live them. Let them binge YouTube videos about success while you build it brick by brick. You are not the spectator, you are the architect. You are the machine. You are the one they'll study later, wondering how you did it. But the truth, you'll have done it in plain sight. While they watched, you worked. And what you're working on is not just a business or a bank account. You're working on you. The man or woman who can hold millions without folding. The mind that can turn chaos into clarity. The soul that refuses to shrink in the presence of fear. This is what wealth really requires. Not tips, but transformation. You will be tested. That's not a possibility, it's a guarantee. You will face betrayal, delays, rejection, doubt. There will be seasons where nothing works, where your own family won't understand, where your wins are invisible, where you question your worth, your timing, your whole damn mission. But remember this, the universe doesn't test the weak, it tests the worthy. And if you weren't worthy of greatness, it would have left you alone. It would have let you live a life of mediocrity without ever stirring this hunger inside you. But it didn't. It lit something in you. That spark, that flame, it's your signal. You're meant for more. And to claim it, you must now go deeper than most ever will. Not wider, deeper. Deeper into your focus. Deeper into your skill set. Deeper into your habits. It's not about doing more. It's about doing less but better. Ruthlessly. Relentlessly. Repeatedly, you cut the noise. You cut the maybes. You cut the distractions that steal your destiny 1 minute at a time. You say no, not because you're arrogant, but because you're clear. You're clear on who you are, where you're going, and what you're building. And that clarity, that sharp, surgical clarity, becomes your weapon. You stop playing defense. You stop reacting. You go on the offense. You design your days. You command your emotions. You lead yourself. That's where the real riches begin. Not in your bank, but in your behavior. You start managing your energy like a Fortune 500 CEO manages assets. You protect your peace. You build routines that sharpen your sword daily. You stop negotiating with laziness. You stop glorifying burnout. You find that sacred rhythm of creation, recovery, reflection. You become a producer, not just a consumer. You see, while others waste decades wondering how to get rich, you've realized it's not a mystery. It's a process. And the process has always been the same. Think, believe, build, adapt, endure, scale, give. No shortcuts, just truth, just work, just mastery. And from that mastery, wealth begins to stack quietly at first. A small win here, a new connection there, an investment that grows, a project that catches fire, and soon the world calls you lucky. But you'll smile because you know you earned every dollar, every opportunity, every ounce of freedom. And then something even bigger happens. You start teaching. You start lifting others. You become the mentor you once needed. You pour into the next version of you, the hungry kid with fire in their eyes but no roadmap. And now you are the map. Now you are the blueprint. And this is where legacy begins. Not just wealth, but impact. Not just cash, but contribution. You'll no longer just be rich in numbers. You'll be rich in meaning because you chose to answer the call. Because you chose to rise in your 30s. Because you built something that didn't just change your life, but changed lives. And that is the real definition of wealth. Not the numbers in your account, but the depth of your influence. The echo of your existence. The proof that you didn't just pass through life collecting trophies. You shaped it. You moved through the world like a storm of purpose. You left no doubt that you were here. Because real wealth is legacy that lives without your presence. When your work speaks for itself, when your discipline compounds into freedom, when your name opens doors for others, that's wealth. When people eat from trees you planted in silence, when your children inherit not just assets but principles, when your story fuels someone else's breakthrough long after you're gone, that's wealth. This isn't theory. This is your calling. This is what it means to actually get rich in your 30s. It's not about Lamborghinis watches or fake status. It's about power, real power, not over others, but over yourself. The power to say no, the power to choose your own hours, the power to live on purpose, not out of obligation, the power to walk into a room and not need to prove anything, because your results already did the talking. And once you taste that level of autonomy, you can never go back. You'll never again trade your time for scraps. You'll never again make decisions from fear. You'll never again shrink to fit the comfort zones of others. Because you've seen behind the curtain. You've seen what's possible when belief becomes behavior, when purpose becomes practice. And here's the final truth: the world is starving for leaders like that. People don't want more influencers, they want examples. People don't need more noise, they need clarity. They're looking for someone who lives what they preach, who embodies discipline, who radiates purpose. Not for show, but because they've done the inner work, because they've bled in the shadows for the freedom they now walk in. You are becoming that person. So keep going, keep sharpening, keep cutting dead weight, habits, environments, mindsets that no longer serve the mission. Keep investing into skills, into assets, into your evolution. Keep protecting your peace, your focus, your why. And above all, keep moving. Move with the speed of someone who finally realized time is the most expensive currency. Move with the confidence of someone who knows they've survived every storm so far. Move with the humility of someone who knows they'll never stop learning. Move with the fire of someone who's seen the vision and now refuses to settle for less. Because in the end, this isn't about age. It's not even about money. It's about the life you refuse to leave unlived. And your 30s, that's where it all begins. Not with luck, not with magic, not with waiting for signs. It begins with you, right here, right now. Decide, get clear, lock in, and go build the life you were born to lead, not someday today. So now the screen fades, not to black, but to clarity. Because this isn't the end of the video. This is the beginning of your next chapter. Not the chapter where you keep watching motivation, but the chapter where you become it, where you stop needing to be pushed. Because something deeper just clicked. You saw it. You felt it. You remembered who you really are. You are not average. You are not lost. You are not behind. You are becoming. And if you do this right, if you stay locked in, stay obsessed, stay disciplined, then 10 years from now, you won't just be rich. You'll be dangerous. You'll be free. You'll be untouchable because you'll know you earned every inch of it. You built it when no one clapped. You chose it when others hesitated. And now the world won't have to ask who you are. They'll feel it. So close this tab, silence the noise, and go build. The life you want isn't waiting. It's watching. Now make it move.